Good morning, everyone. I'm Laura. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. Um, I set myself a really high goal, and it's really unrealistic because that would be like 80 some new subscribers a week till Thanksgiving. That is really unrealistic. But anyways, so if you're new here, go ahead, hit the subscribe. It's free. What we're going to do today is we're going to make a goddess bracelet. I have these. I don't usually use these glowing kind of mermaid beads. They go by so many different names. They're really pretty. I don't normally use them. And then I have some jump rings that they give out. They don't hold steady. If you give it a little tug, they'll pull apart. So one of my subscribers on my Facebook page pointed out that you could make goddess bracelets with them. So that's what we're going to do. I have a ton of this size, and this size bead is perfect. If you're not a part of my Facebook group, it is Rustic Dragonfly Designs. Facebook does not notify me when I get a request to join. So if you request to join and I don't get right to you, I'm sorry. I try to check it every day, but I get busy. And right now I'm preparing for 2 huge shows. They're my biggest shows of the year. And they're back to back, 2 weekends in a row. So I have that going on. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get me off a big length. It's going to be about 24 inches of my beading wire. This is Tiger Tail. I love it. It came from BB Craft, actually. And this is really nice Tiger Tail. If you didn't see my haul from BB Craft, you need to check it out. It was fantastic. I think I have a lot more than I need, but we'll measure this real quick and see where I'm at. Yeah, I got quite a bit more than I need. I got some amazing beads this last time, and I have been doing a lot of creating. Even that's still way more than I need. So let's back it up to about there. I just shy of 12 inches, good enough. So you're actually cutting off a 24-inch piece, and you're going to double that over. So I'm going to cut this off. There we go. And I have been having a blast with the items that I got. Now these are like, I believe they're like these are 8mm jump rings. These are 10. I really didn't want to use an 8, and I may swap them out at the end. What we're going to do is we're going to add that so that it comes down. And I have you guys way too close. I'm sorry. When I look in the camera and all I can see is my hands, it bothers me. All right, we're going to put that on the very end so that we have the wire folded over. And you can use a crimp tube, but what I'm going to use is on Bargain Bead Box, they were called Stop It beads. I don't remember what they're called on Amazon, but that's where I got these. And they are fantastic. I absolutely love them. And that's what I'm going to use. And we're going to slip it over both ends. Now I have a kinky wire here, but because that'll eventually go, I'm just going to work with it. Come on, little dude, go through there. My hands are not working very well. I apologize in advance. We'll just straighten this all out here in a minute. Once I get working with this wire, because it's on a small spool, it's a little fiddly, wants to curl up. But once I start doing this, it'll straighten up. So what we're doing is we're going to bring this down, and we're going to make sure our wires are still even at the end, which they are. And I'm going to give myself a little bit of play, not a bunch, like that. That is plenty. And I use my crimp tool to close that little plunger. You can see that. We have to push that plunger all the way down. So I'm going to stand it up in that very last divot in my crimp tool, and I'm going to push it down. That is going to push down that plunger, like so. And if it's still sticking up a little bit and you want to push it down a little farther, go to the very end and push it on in. Run your finger over it. You don't really feel what's sticking up. Give it a tug test. We're on there tight. Now, we're going to start with just one side. I'm going to push these all up out of my way because right now they're in our way. And you can use more than one color bead. I'm just going to stick with one color. Get a hold of one wire, and we're going to put just one bead on at a time on one wire. Look at the flash in that little baby. I like that. Very pretty. Then we're going to put the two wires together. Now you can add one, or you can add two, or you can add three. I'm going to add two. And we're going to bring it down. And we're putting it over both beads, just like that, or both wires. Ta-da! And then we're going to look and see which wire came through the bead. That's this one. So we're going to grab this wire and we're going to put it through the wire that did not go through the bead. And we're going to put it through a single bead. Looking up to make sure that I am recording. Come on, little dude. Nothing is agreeing with me this morning. And bring that down. And then we're going to put it together. I want to make sure that doesn't get picked up. Put on two. I don't know, these may be too big. Yeah, these are too big. So let's go to the 8mm. You want to use the beads that are the same size as the jump rings that are the same size as the beads that you are using. Even though these appear to be the same size, they're going over the bead too much. So we'll try the 8mm and we'll set them off to the side. I'm sorry, guys. I'm learning with you. Grab the wire that did not go through a bead. Put it on a bead. I probably should have, done one first. That looks more like it. And also you want to make sure that they are closed all the way, which I'm watching to make sure I have ones that are closed, which they seem to all be closed. I'm putting on these two. Much better, much better. And then this one came through the bead. This one did not. So we're going to put it through a bead. Bring our two wires together. Pick up two jump rings. Put them on. This wire did not go through the bead. We're going to put it on. Also, I probably should have warmed up my wire between my fingers before I did this, and I wouldn't have my wire curled. It's looking pretty. Two more jump rings. So if you're like me and you have a ton of jump rings that you don't use, this is a great way to use them. This one didn't go through a bead. And I have a ton, like 5mm ones that also, like he's open, I'm going to set him aside. Yeah, he's good. So I'm going to look for some smaller beads that I just have not used because I am not fond of how they look or something like that. And just make a goddess bracelet out of them. It'll help, it just brings out their color. And it's a great way to utilize like spare beads also. My two jump rings. I want this one. And jump rings. And then I want this wire. And also when you're working with bigger beads, remember it takes up more real estate on your arm. So you want it to be a little longer than what you would normally make a bracelet to fit somebody. Jump rings over both. Pick up the one the bead is not on. Put a bead on. Both wires. 2 jump rings. Now the 8mm jump rings are good. They're thick and heavy. It just happens to be that the 10mm ones that aren't are not the right size. Okay, which one? That came through the bead. This one did not. So we're going to put a bead on. Pick up both. 2 more jump rings. And I'm going to pause a minute and get more of the 8mm jump rings out. I don't use a lot of 8mm jump rings, so this is a good way to use them up. The one that does not go through the bead. I had to play around with the wire to see which one looked good with these peach beads. So I chose this red because of how it looks against the bead. And the only time you actually see it is right here at the very end. So this is actually kind of fun to do. I am so glad that this got shared to me. I rewatched that video a couple of times to make sure I had everything down right before I decided to make this video. There we go. And here in a little bit, I am going to put on probably a couple more beads. Whoops. I thought I had 2 in my hand and I didn't. And then I will measure this. I'll probably measure it right now and see where we're at. It looks kind of small still. Yeah, that's only at like 4 inches, so we got a ways to go. Oops, jump rings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So 4 inches. So there's about roughly 3 beads per inch. So I'm going to need roughly 6 more beads, and I do have that. There's 1. Oh, he's open. Oops. Come on, little dude. There's 2. Three. 4. I will measure it at 5. And this is my 5th bead. That looks more like it, doesn't it, guys? We are at 5.5 inches. By the time I put the closure on, it'll come to just under 6. I think I'll go one more bead at least, maybe 2, because this is going to take a lot of room around my wrist. So let's continue. First, we need to put on 2 more jump rings. Oh, that one didn't go through both. And then find my wire I want through. Let me get out some more 8mm. Through both of them. Find my wire. Now I am going to pinch this right here with both wires, nice and close, and I'm going to put this around my wrist. Wow, I can go those last 2 beads, no problem. It takes up a lot of space on your wrist, guys. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to put on 1 more bead, and I'm going to try it one more time. Now I need to keep in mind that probably the person that's going to wear this is probably going to be a little girl. I think right there, I'm going to add this much extra room on, and then a clasp, and I can use one of my bigger clasps. But boy, guys, look at this. Look at how much extra room I have. It doesn't even come all the way around my wrist. So I think I'm going to go ahead and put that last bead on. So I would rather have plenty of room. Because I have a 7 1/4 inch wrist. And it doesn't even come near to close up good. So we're going to go ahead and do this. I mean, it doesn't even come around to where a 6 1/2 inch wrist would come. So we're at the end of it. We're out of beads. And what we're going to do from here is we are going to grab, where did I just lay them? 1 more of these stop beads. Like I said, I got the best deal on Amazon. They work wonderfully. And we are simply going to put this on, both wires through it. I'm gonna, you know, I can now trim that off, so I'm not struggling with that bad end, guys. So I'm gonna put both wires through singly. I think it'll be easier on me. 1, 2, And I'm going to pull them down just like that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my 8mm that is closed. I'm only going to put it on one wire. So I'm going to choose a wire. I'm going to put it on the wire, and then I'm going to loop that wire back through my stop bead. Just like so. And I'm going to pull this all down. I'm going to pull my stop bead nice and snug. Make sure my bracelet's nice and snug, but yet we'll make a curve. I'm going to pull my extra wire down like so. Leave myself that little bit. I want you to see what I've done here. Put my stop bead right up there where it needs to be and pull. So this is what I've got. I'm going to hold this up and down, get my crimp tool, put it in that divot, press down. Make sure it's pressed down tight, put it in the last one, double check it, and I'm going to tug test. It's not going anywhere. Now, I am going to come in here and I'm going to clip only this spare wire right off at the stop bead. And this spare wire that's coming out the top of the stop bead, I'm going to clip it off. I save these. They're great for making earrings. Now, we are going to bring this around and I'm going to put a closure on it. Get this out of the way. And I'm also going to add, because this is, I want to show you guys, look at how small this is, okay? I am also going to put, right now, a length of chain for a extender. Whoops, those are not going to cut. I'm going to give it roughly about 1.25 inches, because by the time I add a bit on the end, we'll make sure this gets closed up when we put on. So I want this to swing freely, but I don't want to mess with the integrity of that. So I'm going to take these little 4mm ones. I'm going to add the chain with one, and because I have plenty of room to work with, that with one, the lobster. I don't want to disturb the integrity of the ones that are closed. So once I open them, they're going to be hard to get closed all the way. So if you have a jump ring that's closed and you are using it like this and you don't want to disturb that, go with another jump ring, a tiny one. I do have tinier ones, but I've moved them and I don't feel like going and digging for them right at the moment. And they are 18 karat gold plated, so I try to save them for like special pieces. So we have that on there. On this tail end, we're going to put an extender chain. This way, if a little girl gets this, it'll fit her. If a lady wants it and she has a bigger wrist, it'll fit her. So we're going to close that up. I am also going to put a dangle on this. Not sure what I'm going to put on it yet, but it deserves some sort of dangle. See how wide open that is? So we're going to put a Do I have a little gold bead laying here? I usually do. I put everything away last night. I'm going to pause you. Okay, so before I close this, I'm going to put this gold bead right here. And then close this up. This gives this a little bit of something on it. And I'm pushing in on that to close that. So that gives that an extender. And it closed really crappy. There we go. Now on this side, I decided we are going to put this butterfly. I want him to dangle down pretty good. And we're just going to use these 10mm that are laying here, because I don't want this butterfly to be too close. And he dangles from his back. And we're going to dangle him right here by the closure. So we're going to make sure that he is closed. And so there is, get our butterfly to cooperate with us. There is our goddess bracelet, the first one I've ever made. I like it. I like how it turned out. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. And I'll talk to all of you guys down in the comments. Let me know what you think of this goddess bracelet. Bye, everybody.